Okay, got it. Okay, I think I'll go with the simpler introduction questions and then go to the deeper in-depth one. I think Dinesh yours is the most in-depth one lah, where it covers, a bit of governance and things like that. So good also, we can actually cover from really basic questions all the way to the in-depth portion of social enterprising. So, okay, maybe this one, whose question is this? Maybe y'all can, read it out. Whose one is this? Is it Alia's or is it Lee's?
I think this is our question from UMS. Anyway,
Okay.
okay. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone here, especially Miss Yap Sui and fellow. My name is Muhammad Syazari Nifail bin Sharif, the group leader for this group project under Business Ethics course, and we are from UMS Cal, International Labuan's campus. Would like to have an interview regarding the social enterprise, and we will ask you a few questions about that lah. So these are our questions. Can you tell us about uh, your SE background?
Okay, social enterprise is basically we empower the B40 woman community. Very straightforward. We do two things. How we empower them is by providing upskill sewing training and by providing job opportunities. So in this sense, our background is that we're filling up a gap. Most of the time, social enterprises, we have to also provide a need, right? And the need here is that these ladies need jobs. They want to be able to earn their own income. However, no one is facilitating that because they can't join a 9 to 5 job when they have responsibility of taking care of the children at home. So with KTJ's platform, we're able to actually facilitate that and provide them job opportunities with them working from home, right? So that's basically the background of KTJ. We empower the B40 woman community. Ladies, they are consisting of single women, single moms, stay-at-home moms, underprivileged women, OKU group, and most important, they are just women in general who just wants to uplift and empower themselves. Yeah, so that's the background.
So we move into the next question. Why did you start this social enterprise?
All right, so way back when I started this social enterprise, I didn't even know it was called a social enterprise. I was actually running a business, a fashion platform business that requires manufacturing of clothing. And no factories were able to do my designs because they were a very small quantity of 10s and 30. Factories were doing it in hundreds and thousands. So with that, I started knocking on doors. I went to our neighborhood, akak-akak, makcik-makcik, your neighbors that normally have these tailors at home with a sewing machine. And normally they are tailors that does sewing for Raya most of the time, right? Your moms will normally order from them and then later the children will also order from them. So these are the akak-akak tailors that I managed to get and find to sew my garments. At that time, the garments order was just like one piece, satu order, one lady order one baju, then one akak, one dapat one job. So it was very slow moving. And then the akak kept coming back to me and saying that, oh, is there more orders? I want to sew more orders. So it come to thought that, actually there's a gap. No one is helping them get orders because these are home-based freelance, in a way, freelance tailors that can only get jobs during festive season. So I found a gap and no one was helping these ladies to actually get more orders. So then that's where KTJ at that time was doing clothing, converted into doing corporate gifts. Because we believe that with corporate gifts, we have more orders for more akak. So that's why I started the social enterprise as a full scale. We fully established it as a social enterprise. We made sure that we have a whole community member, a whole community of tailors. And then to facilitate them, we then started this whole sales department that focuses on getting corporate orders, things like that. So, that's how the whole social enterprise started. Yeah.
So, okay, that's clear one. And then, okay, the motivation of this kind of business.
Okay, the motivation is very clear cut. To do a social enterprise, you must have some sort of responsibility and the feeling that, you're actually doing something of impact, right? But you, of course, don't just feel it. You need to actually analyze it and really understand what impact are you creating. So I think what motivates me and my team is that we actually see the impact being created towards the akak tailors, is by seeing them not just earn income, but they're improving their livelihood day by day. For example, with the income that they earn, they can actually save enough, and some of them are able to even buy insurance. When they save enough, some of them are even able to upgrade their kitchen. Even though they live in a PPR, they want to upgrade their kitchen, right? Like for every woman's dream is to actually slowly improve their household, provide better space living for their family and children. So by actually visibly seeing that, we realize that the impact created is what actually drives us, right? To wake up every morning and do what we do. So yeah. So I think we can move on to question 4. Maybe I can also just slowly catch up on since if the questions are related.
Yeah.
So what do I think is important? What do you think what you're doing is important to society? So it's similar to question 3, right? It's important because we see the impact. A lot of times, sometimes where people start a social enterprise or when they start an NGO, it can be of wrong reasons, maybe very shock sendiri lah. Like, they do one project and they feel like, oh, it's great, let me do it again and again. But there must be a sense of sustainability element in there. If not, how can you continuously help the society, right? It'll be a very one-off project. So I think with KTJ, at the very beginning, we made sure that we designed the business model to make sure it's sustainable. Because if there's nothing sustainable, help can only go so far. So yeah, I think that's one thing that's very important. To help the society, you need to first help your business to make sure that the business survives on its own. Yeah. So moving to question 5, how long has this social enterprise been in existence? We've been around. So when we established the company is 2007. Sorry, not so late. 2017. Then when we fully run KTJ as a social enterprise, I think it was somewhere between 2018 to 2019. That was when we pivoted from doing the clothing, 2 years to pivot, and then we focused on corporate gifts at 2019. And that's where we actually tried and errored, and then we actually found a model that works. So yeah, it's been since 2000, officially 2017. But if you want to calculate KTJ's life, it's 2019, right? So number 6, how can this social enterprise benefit society? It depends which aspect you're looking at, right? The society in this is the beneficiaries, the akak tailors. Well, they benefit firstly monetary, which is money, right? They earn income, they generate income, they help the family. So it's directly putting food on the table. Whereas if I were to look at a holistic point of view, is that we're also helping the government in a way upskill and uplift the poverty line, right? So what we want is that we also want a vicious cycle to cut off, meaning that, if the moms are now no longer worried, or the husbands in the family are no longer worried about financial, then the children will get better education. They also get better attention and better, livelihood. So then the parents then, with financial burden, if you notice, of course, it's very much, the whole household. Right? If there's financial burden, then of course, then there's burden to the children as well. They might not be able to finish studies. They might be then worried about, once they complete Form 5, they have to jump straight back into workforce to support back the family. Whereas when there is a way for the moms to be also self-sustaining, the dad to be able to earn still his income, then the children can then focus on studying. So I think it's a very holistic approach if you were to look at it when there is no financial burden in the family. Okay, so moving on, number 7, how and social enterprise activists can contribute to SDG sustainable development goals. I guess when they say contribute, right, I also struggle with that fact, like how do we contribute? Is it a number? Is it money? Is it effort? Is it hours that I put in? I think it's more of so long the social enterprise or NGO is devoted and engaged and aware that whatever they do in the company, let's say in social enterprise in KTJ, where does it fall into? Am I just doing it because I say I'm saving Earth, but in what category am I saving off at? So the SDG goals is just a form of formatting and in a way of guideline. So it'll be good if, let's say, your social enterprise or your company or your NGO knows which pillars it is targeting. So for KTJ, we're in gender equality, we're in what do you call that? Workforce, and also number 12 is responsible consumption. So responsible consumption in our sense is that we're trying to now include upcycling products. So reduction of new materials is what direction we're going at. So then that's how we identify. So based on that SDG goals, we're able to pick and choose which one we want to focus at, because you can't focus on all, right? I can't be suddenly KTJ want to go and help aquamarine life. So it's like, I think it's just a way of guideline. So yeah, that I think it's just for clarity as well. Okay, so for number 8, what's your biggest challenge in managing and running a social enterprise since it was founded? So one thing about running a social enterprise is that we have to deal with both ends, right? Running a business is you deal with customers, very straightforward. Running a social enterprise, you have to deal with the community and customers. So it's like running two businesses at the same time. I think the biggest challenge is then and now, it's still happening, is always that juggle. First of all, is that it's also a very chicken and egg situation. KTJ's mission is to, of course, okay, so now let me just cover a bit of number 9, right? Vision, mission, and objective is that KTJ's vision is to, of course, empower more and more B40 women. But the more we empower, we also have to some sort put a responsibility on our shoulder that we want to promise them income that they can generate. But to be able to do that, don't you think I need to facilitate sales? Because what's the point of me empowering them halfway, but then I don't have orders from the corporate coming in to supply to them? So it's just more like, okay, here's a skill. Now go out and find your own orders. Yes, that worked in the past, but I think most of the time the NGOs or the SEs back then, they fail to realize is that these tailors are already so busy with day work, right? Taking care of the household, doing this. How can they suddenly drop everything and open an Instagram account, a Facebook account, a website, upload their products and do sales, right? That itself requires a whole department. So I think KTJ's vision here and mission here is that, we want to facilitate them in the orders part, because they can work, they can sew, but then they may not be able to, with the very limited resources, they may not be able to source the orders from corporates. So I think that's our challenge, is that, we want to empower and grow this community, but we also have to then expand and make sure that we have enough sales coming in, right, to facilitate them. So it's always a balancing game. No matter how many more ladies I add on to the community, I must make sure I have enough orders to give them. If not, the dropout rates will be very high. They might wonder like, oh, KTJ say there's orders, but I tunggu, I tak boleh untung more than RM50 sebulan. So it's like, it defeats the purpose of sustainability there, right? So I think that's where we have to play a balancing game and make sure that it's beneficial for everyone. Yeah. The vision, okay, so yeah, I covered part of number 9. Number 10 is how many people are involved in this social enterprise now? I think the internal team, we have about 9 of us. The akak tailors, we have about 70 active tailors. 70 tailors in our pool who are willing to come and take orders with us. But active, inactive is depending on their timeline. So because our tailors, they are not tied to us like an employee, they're tied to us more like a freelancer, gig economy sort of concept. So that's why when we like, okay, we have 1,000 order of pouches, which akak nak ambil, they ambil lah. They say that, okay, I'm free this time and this time, then we source them out. We do the job matching for them. Because we understand sometimes some akak, they might be busy, they balik kampung, they are away, sometimes they even ask for time out because they have 2 months, they have to take care of the mom. And after that, they come back, then they continue work again. So it's very flexible in that sense. There's no like, where once they say they're out, they're out. We are not so cruel in that sense. We are happy to provide orders so long they're committed to sewing them. Yeah. So currently, about 70 active. And in the internal team, full-time is about 9 of us. Okay, so number 11, what do you intend to further advance this social enterprise? So I think it's covered more on part 8 and 9 is that, yeah, we want to expand the team. We want to expand the social impact, which is by adding more tailors, empowering more tailors into the community. And then that's where we also look into maybe creating more branches as well, establishing more branches. So now we're located in Ampang. So Ampang means that we can facilitate those that are able to come to us. Because KTJ, we're like a hub, but we still require our akak-akak tailors to drive, come and learn the skill, pick up the fabric, and bring it home. Then when they sew it at home, they dah siap dalam 2 minggu, then they send back the products for us to QC, and then that's where we then disperse their wages. So the problem with that is that it means that we can only empower those in Klang Valley and those that has sewing machine and transport. Which means that then we also saw and found a lot of, in our database, there's a lot coming in from even Sabah, Sarawak, Malacca, Johor, Pahang, a lot of tailors around outskirts, right? But because we are located here, we only can facilitate those here. So we are looking into how to expand is by, if we have a keen interest from, let's say, good tailors that can open up branches in other states, we are looking into building that. So hopefully that can happen in the near future so that we can actually help and facilitate more. Okay, number 12, what can be done by your surrounding community to help social enterprises? Surrounding community. Okay, maybe I need you to expand on this. What do you mean by surrounding community? Sorry, yeah, maybe I can ask you guys.
I'm sorry, we're not really clear. What's the question again?
Your question number 12, maybe you can explain or expand a bit. When you said what can be done by the surrounding community to help social enterprises, means
Oh,
beneficiaries or people like everyone?
surrounding, I mean, like, we can take a surrounding community that, oh, uh, around that, your location that you said at Ampang, right? Around, how, how, how do I say? How do I say? I'm sorry.
Maybe I can reword it if you're referring to people, like how can people help social enterprises? Is that what you mean? Like
Yeah,
of the public.
that's the word. That's the word.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say like how can public support social enterprises? Similarly like you guys, that's why I wanted to also start this new way of how interviews are being conducted, is that I was hoping, firstly awareness is that's why the earlier batches of students, I did request them to do a screenshot. So maybe at the end of this call, we do a screenshot, then you guys mention KTJ on your LinkedIn, tell about a short brief of what you learned about KTJ. That helps us a lot. Right. So sometimes I have to be a bit thick skinned lah. I gotta go and ask you guys, can you go and do awareness? Can you go and talk about KDJ? Can you share about our community? Because those little words that spread around somehow actually brings back impact to the community, because when people buy, orders are given to the akak-akak tailors. Right. So most of the time the public don't know that, just by a word of suggestion or a word of spreading, it actually helps back the community. That's number one. Number two is that actually know where your items come from. So for example, like if you're thinking of a gift, if our corporate clients are thinking of a product to give to their customers, we always tell them that always know where your products come from. Buy with impact, we call it. Whereby instead of buying a hamper that comes from a big factory, right? Why not you impact the community? So for example, they want to buy chocolates, they want to buy biscuits, kueh. Why not buy it from community, right? So that's why with KTJ, we try to also not just empower our B40 women community, but we also work with other social enterprises that does cookies, right? That does kueh, so that then we compact it together, we pack it together, and then we sell to our corporate. So then when the corporates gift it, they also realize, oh yeah, actually, instead of helping like Ferrero Rocher or Nestle, there's such big giants out there already, they can actually have hampers that are impacting many multiple communities at a time. So similarly, going back to the public, just knowing where your items come from, right? Buy with impact. The minute there's a thought that, oh, I have some friends coming over, I'm going to buy a gift. Maybe try and source items from your social enterprise friends, right? It could be Gold, which is generating opportunities for learning disabled, GOLD. They actually impact autistic children and youths and Down syndrome young adults to teach them how to do baking cookies. Like, how impactful is that? So instead of just buying something from village grocer, you can actually impact a community by buying something that helps back a community. So I think that's what I would hope the public to know lah. Yeah. So yeah, that ends the last question. Anything else to wrap up this session?
I think that's all for us. So on behalf of EMS student, I would like to appreciate your time and consideration upon this project, which help us to uh, complete our assessment. And not only that, with this interview, we also gain knowledge about social enterprise and to promote KTJ among UMS or surround Labuan. So yeah, thanks once again, man.
Thank you.
That's
Oh,
it.
do sit in. Hope it's okay that you guys all still sit in till the end. Then we will take maybe a group
Sure,
shot.
sure, sure, Ken.
Right. All right. Okay. Can.